There have been 18 personalities that have become Prime Minister of Cameroon during the period of the federal structure, pre- and post-independent era, and there have been moments when the position was scrapped off, and there have been moments where individuals played the role of Prime Minister. So far, we have 17 active persons that played the role, adding to Ande Marimi, that will be 18 who played the role of Prime Minister till date, and Amadou Ahidjo became Prime Minister of French Cameroon became Prime Minister of French Cameroon, and also was the President of the nation, and he ruled as Prime Minister for 125 days as Prime Minister. After becoming President, President Amadou Ahidjo appointed Charles Asale on the 15th of May 1960 and was Prime Minister until June 1965 after reunification with British Southern Cameroon, and that position again came into question between that time. President Ahidjo also appointed Vicente Paul on January 19th, 1965, and he occupied the position for 154 days and was removed on the 20th of November 1965. On November 20th, 1965, Simon Pierre Chongo was appointed by Amadou Ahidjo, and he ruled for 6 years and was removed in 1972. Whereas in the time of the British Southern Cameroon, we also had prime ministers who ruled at the time. The Prime Minister of West Cameroon at the time was John Gu Foncha, and he became Prime Minister on 1st of October 1961, where he ruled for 3 years. He was replaced by Augustin Gumjua, Augustin Gumjua on 13th of May 1965, and also ruled for 3 years, 182 days. After Augustin Gondua, there was Solomon Tandemuna, who took over from Jua on the 11th of January 1968 and was replaced on 2nd of June 1972 when the federal structure was voted out and the unity state was placed into existence. And you should note that there was also between 25th of January, there was also a period where the position was abolished by the President of the Republic. The position was abolished on the 25th of January 1984 and only came into existence in 1991. And between that time, we've had other people who've played the role of Prime Minister that was in the then United Republic of Cameroon. At the time, we had personalities like Vicente Paul Atangana, which I just mentioned, and we also had Saidu Ayatu, who also played the role of Prime Minister. We also had Luke Ayatu, who played the role within 24th of August 1983, and also we also had Simon Achidi Achu that became the first Anglophone Prime Minister after the position was reintroduced. That was on the 9th of April 1992, and where he ruled till 1996. After that, we had Peter Mafani Mosonge, who became Prime Minister in 1996 to September 1996, and ruled up and occupied that position up to 2004, where he had 8 years, 8 days in office. We also had Inoni Ephraim that became Prime Minister 8 December 2004 till 30th of June 2009. That is, he became Prime Minister for 4 years. Young Philemon, Cameroon's longest serving Prime Minister, he took over in 2009 and also handed over in 2019, where he ruled for 9 years, 188 days, and Chief Dr. Joseph Diangute took over from 2019 until date. He is the Prime Minister of Cameroon. Many have been stating in Cameroon, there have been mixed feelings in Cameroon as far as that position is concerned, with others stating that that position is more of a ceremonial role and that position is more of giving people titles than effectiveness in heading the government. How true is this assertion? It is that which we are going to look at today on House of Commons. The Guardian Post newspaper posted that was 2 weeks ago on the topic which we are to look on today's edition of our program, where we are looking at what have the peace-loving people of the Northwest and Southwest region benefited in Cameroon as far as the position of Prime Minister is concerned within the last 30 years, that is from 1991 till date. What have the peace-loving people of the Northwest and Southwest region benefited from the position of Prime Minister since when it was re-established in 1991? That is our topic of today. In the studio, we have gentlemen who are already present. Dewum Emmanuel, who is a regular panelist with us. Dewum Emmanuel, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Tah Mai Jarvis. Happy Sunday to all my co-panelists. Permit me to greet my land of birth, which is Com, where I come from, the fun of Com, his entourage, and all the chindas in Com. I also wish to take this opportunity to greet the lovers of House of Commons, wherever they are, all over the globe, especially one of your favorite fans, Mr. Ayafred, who was already signaling to me that at 12 noon, he will be glued. Today we have a very sensitive topic and we have to go down memory lane to be asking questions once more. Where did Anglophones go wrong in this country? Are they their problem? Do they know their problem? How can they solve their problem? How have they been part of the problem or part of the solution to their problem? I'm sure it's gonna be a good ride.
And also we have Mr. Ignatius. Mr. Ignatius, happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Happy Sunday, Jarvis. Good afternoon to my co-panelists. I'm happy to be here today with my brothers to share issues that concern our country. Remember, we have to be proud to be Cameroonians. Once more, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Edmond. It's been a privilege to have you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tama, and good afternoon to all panelists. Thank you for inviting me. And I just want to echo something so pertinent, that when we gather like this in very sensitive topics like this, we should be very conscious and analyze facts based on history so that will help us to build good Cameroon. Because when we gather, there are many that they are echoing that too much talking, too much debate is healing no fruit. But as far as nation building is concerned, we'll keep on contributing in our own way. So I pray we should have a fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you also. Yeah, we have Nick Anu. Nick Anu, happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Happy Sunday to you, Tah Mai Jarvis. Thanks for having me here once again. And happy Sunday to our fellow panelists. Happy Sunday to our fellow the House of Commons, the lovers of House of Commons all over the globe. And I say, before we begin, I say a condolence to the families that have lost 1 or 2 persons in the accidents we have for this past week, the plane crash and the accident along the Yaoundé road that killed many Cameroonians. And we are hoping that the government will take this thing serious, and also we look forward to have a good discussion here concerning our nation and how to carry it forward. Thank you once more for having me.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, all legends watching from Bathman. It is Ayukubu. Thanks for indicating. I also want to wish all those of you watching us online a happy Sunday. That is Chimba Silvanus. Happy Sunday to you. I kickstart today's edition with you, Dewum Emmanuel. But before diving straight into the topic, we've had a lot of news-making events as far as Cameroon is concerned. And to say that which is topping the agenda is the kidnapping of Senator Mundi, who is yet to be seen, and of course the state is yet to make an official statement, and alongside the Senate is yet to make an official statement, as well as the party in itself that she represents is yet to make an official statement. What do we make of the conspicuous silence of these bodies that ought to say something officially?
I think the kidnap of that mother is something to be regretted. Like the Igbo proverb says, you don't sell your brothers to a stranger or to a buyer and expect the buyer to trust you. Part of the system. I regret saying so. You see, a lot of people were kidnapped before Senator Mundi. I never saw a day when Madam Senator came out to denounce the kidnappings. We have seen Indian, we have seen in Boyo, we have seen in Bambeli, we have seen in many places. For so long, she has been very quiet. And the powers that be, as you put it, are powers that, you know my position, they went on vacancy a long time ago. You will not expect them to suddenly leave their vacancy to come and denounce something they know very much about. That said, it is a lesson for those who are part of the system that when you support the system today and they are using you for their own selfish interests, their selfish gains, when it is your turn tomorrow, you have to ask some salient questions. If yesterday, I, Ndiwo, talking here in this studio today, was unable to denounce the arrest or the kidnapping of people in Indian, Boyo, Nsungkikang, and today I am kidnapped, do you expect the people to come out and denounce my own kidnapping? I have never heard Madam Senator Mundi come out clear to denounce, be it the killing of the children in Boya, be it the killing of those in Bamenda, and the kidnap of those. I am not in any way supporting the kidnapping, given her age in the first place. But wherever she is, as we pray for her release and that she should be in safe hands, it is a call that I'm making today for those who have not yet met a similar situation to know that in the context in which we find ourselves today, we have to collectively denounce and condemn what is wrong. For when you fail to denounce it today, you are an accomplice. And when you become a victim tomorrow, you should assume it.
Albert Einstein once said the world will only be a better place if those who react when they ought to react. And that being silent when evil is committed makes you part of the process. That was the word of Albert Einstein. But however, we are calling on the fact that...
For sure. That's why you join my voice to say that when you don't denounce today and you become victim tomorrow, do not expect people to
denounce. Is that why the government is silent in issues? Why is the government silent? This is a mother, grandmother, who have saved the nation and is in this kind of situation. We're yet to have an official statement. Should Cameroonians be begging for accountability of their fellow compatriots?
I will join Mr. Ndiwum to regret the kidnap of this mother. Remember, I will recall a statement that I heard one time from John Frundi. When he was kidnapped, he said that he told those guys that if he withdraws his parliamentarians from the National Assembly, there will be no opportunity for them to expose the situation that the people of the Northwest and Southwest are facing. So I would like to connect that one with this mother. She is a senator. These are the very people who are supposed to present the situation that we are facing in the two English regions. Even though, but to an extent, it has happened that they are not doing in the way we expected them to do. But now you say that why is the government silent? You see, there is I can see confusion at the level of the state. You see, this woman is from is a senator. These are the very people, the two House of Assembly, who vehemently refuse to bring the situation, the crisis, the Anglophone crisis, to discuss it in the National Assembly. Maybe some of them, at that time, they didn't know that it will come to a time in which some of them will become victims. According to me, I'm seeing that, you know, let me quote this statement. You see, when you look in the forest, the family of the animals that are carnivore, like the lion, that feed themselves on others. When it happens that the other species escape and they abandon the forest to them, when they become hungry, they will begin to eat the young ones. You see, these boys' actions now taking even their own people is as a result of the duration of the crisis, which is something that was supposed to be solved at least, because it started in 2016, we could have even put things in order in 2017. But because of the duration, you see that the armed separatists on the field, their plans are changing. Sometimes they do not have the opportunity to face Yaoundé, the minister and the president. Now, what do? They attack the people who come.
Soft target.
Yeah, they attack the people who are around them. This one is at the cost as a result of the duration of the crisis. Maybe let it be as a signal. It is not still late. If we pray that this mother should be released, let them take this matter to the National Assembly. Let it be the lone topic of the National Assembly and discuss it. Let us have a fruitful resolutions.
I'll come back to you, Edmond, briefly. The state has not officially made a statement. For sure, this is not any kind of person. This is a senator of the state, and also a mother who has contributed immensely in the growth of the nation, and someone who also played a key role in the rebranding of the Commons People's Democratic Movement in Bamenda. She too has not, the party too has not made an official statement. But we read the party made official statement when the Ngabu incident came. We heard the party made official statement the Muyoka incident. We've heard the party made a lot of statements as far as the conflict is concerned. But one of theirs is kidnapped, and we Cameroonians should be running behind the state?
Yes, Mr. Tama. The problem is, as far as I'm concerned, I know all life do matters, be it that of the senator or whosoever. We saw Barrister Senator Kemendi. He died, nothing was said concerning him. Now, this lady, this mother we are talking of. The problem with Cameroon is, Cameroon in particular and Africa in general, when this crisis started, they allowed the civilians. By then, the weapons were still local weapons. They allowed the civilians to use, to spread, to have to go to the war so that they can have, presently they have a lot of weapons now, and are misusing the weapons the way they want. So if the government was silent when Akum Julius died and others Cameroonians, and who have seen that, I'm of the opinion that even the government making an official statement, it wouldn't change nothing. It will change nothing. If the government can make an official statement, it should be towards on what? Ceasing of the fire. They should stop the guns. They should stop the war. And I think that can be the only solution, because as far as I'm concerned, even giving public speeches or whatsoever, it will not help anything. Thank you.
Okay, of course, this is a mother kidnapped, an Anglophone, kidnapped by Anglophones of her age. What then becomes of the Anglophone culture? I'm looking at her age.
Yeah, I think in war, everything is possible. Everything can be expected. But I think in war, there is no morality in war, and as some people may say. But being as human as we are, as Africans as we are, as Anglophone as we are, we should not forget who we are. When a war goes without any directives, without any central command, meaning that anybody can just be kidnapped at any time. We were made to know that the mother was kidnapped by one of the factions of the separatist fighters. I think it was the faction of Ayabacho. I think that's what, when I was following up ahead of that. I think that's kind of morally wrong, because when you are fighting a war, you have to be reading the temperature of the war also. Before going for your target, you should know the kind of fruit that target can produce. We have seen in the past that even killing people, the government, that has not changed the position of the government. At the beginning of the crisis, the deal of Batibo was disappeared. Yeah, he disappeared, and up to today, we've not known where that man went to. The government did not give us any official statement. We go to...
No, official statements were made, but
yeah.
This particular case now has not been official.
Yeah, but that did not change anything about the war,
but at least
about the crisis.
A statement was made.
Yeah, but when Barrister Kemende died, or he was assassinated, we saw her fellow members in the Senate did not make any statement up to today. And even today, her fellow members of the House of the Senate are not making any statement concerning her kidnap or whatever. I think, to me, the government is just kind of tired. If you look at the crisis, I think the nation of Cameroon is a kind of nation that is so tribal, nepotic. And when they see Anglophones being after Anglophones, it's as if they're happy. They like that kind of thing. And it is for us Anglophones to understand that kind of game.
Okay.
That no matter the number of our own people that we kill, it is not going to change the temperature of the war or the narratives of the war. In war, it is strategy. It is strategy upon strategy. When you use a particular strategy, it doesn't work, you change. Not kind of inflicting pains on your own people. Because to me, I don't see how the kidnap of that mother is going to change anything concerning this crisis. To me, I don't really see anything concerning that. I think the separatist fighters, there is no central command. There is no central command. Everybody is just giving their own orders. Because if Ayabacho sit and say they have arrested, because to them it's not kidnap, to them it's arrest. Yeah, they arrested her. So we should just be understanding the difference. So I think it is morally wrong. It is morally wrong to keep that the mother of that age, and knowing fully well that it will not produce any political gains. I don't see it producing any political gains or any moving the crisis forward. I think that we're pleading that she should be released. She should be released.
We kickstart today's program fully. Dilma Emmanuel, 30 years on since the reinstatement of the position of Prime Minister, and within that time, Anglophones have taken the lead as being appointed as Prime Minister of Cameroon. Within this time frame, what have the peace-loving people of the Northwest and Southwest benefited from this position?
Just 1 minute. Let me add something to the question you first asked. When you ask about when the other panelists were developing their own points, a point crossed my mind. You know, in this country, I don't know whether it's nature or it is how the government made it to be. I want to make an allusion to the doctor that was kidnapped in Douala. The governor and all the battalions was mobilized in Douala to make sure that she was released. I don't know whether it is because in that context, those who kidnapped her were not terrorists, like those who are in Norwest. Because in Norwest, we know that whether you are for or against, publicly or secretly, you are a terrorist. I'm the one saying it. And you see,
no, but you cannot say that.
That's why I tell you that I am
no, you take responsibility for that. Because me, I know I'm not a terrorist. Of course, the people you are not a terrorist from my own perspective. But if you say,
I think if we could reverse the kidnap of Senator Mundi to go east of the Mongo, the government will speak. They are not speaking because it is not east of the Mongo. Now I come back to your question. You are asking me 30 years down the line, what have the peace-loving
people
citizens
of Northwest and Southwest benefited from this
from
position of Prime Minister in Cameroon?
It's a question that is so dear to my heart, so very close to my heart. Since we are here to analyze, I cannot just emphatically say they have benefited nothing. I want to start by telling you that in this country, from the time Yaoundé manipulated it to make sure or to make believe the fact that the post of the Prime Minister was reserved in this country for the Anglophones, which was a bluff, of course. You see, from that time till now, we have the structure, that is the office that hosts a Prime Minister. But in that Prime Minister, we do not have a voice that comes out from that Prime Minister. We have the structure with somebody seated in there in the name of a Prime Minister, but the voice and the power of that structure has been taken away and it is managed by somebody somewhere. Let's take the case of Simon Achide Achu, 1992 to 1996.
Yes.
If you go to the Santa people, whom I am taking this opportunity to greet for their hard working, for their diligence, for their being law abiding, and you ask them, what did Pa do to you people? They will not tell you. Now, looking at it overall to what he did to Cameroonians, Pa can be remembered as the person whom, when everybody ran away from the pen that was to sign for the cartel of salaries in Cameroon, Pa took the courage to cut the salaries. Even though some other school of thought, preferably from the CBDM angle of it, will tell you that he wanted to save the image of Cameroon from the pressure that was coming from the World Bank and the IMF at that time. We think he would have done something for his people. Here I am talking from a general perspective. But he took the courage to curtail the salaries that till date that have never been reinstated. And that rejoins the teachers' plight today, because they are the core that filled the heavy hammer in that direction. You look at Mafani Musonge, a son, a native son of the Moya
Court area.
Yes, to be precise. You ask yourself, what has he offered Anglophone?
And he was Prime Minister from 1996 to September 2004. He ruled for 8 years, 8 days.
Nothing to show for. And we can regret and say in affirmative.
When you say nothing to show for, many will say Peter Mafani Musonge, wrote his village. He's also laid down the modalities of opening up private audiovisual sector in 2000 when he had the prime ministerial text that gave room for private television stations like My Media Prime to have access to open up freely. These are the things.
Are you in essence telling us that My Media Prime is an Anglophone entity?
No, we said private audiovisual sectors. I'm just saying.
That for the benefit of the Anglophones?
I say many will say.
Let's match with our topic.
Yes, many will say that those are the achievements he did. Many will say
will say so, and they have the right to say so. But I am saying that if I go to my village today, or in Norway today, I will not see one relict there that could be tagged to the name of Mafani Musonga as the Prime Minister of Cameroon. And I continue. After him, we had, and one thing that cannot escape my mind, he is one of the people, one of the person in Cameroon that we can remember for xenophobia. He's one of the people who have consistently used the word Come no go.
No. How can you say that? He is the president. He is the
presently now as the president of the
multiculturalism.
He said it in Southwest.
No, you don't have proof. Do you have proof?
He said it on camera.
No,
I am speaking on camera, and that is his phone on camera. Tah Mai Jarvis, this is a serious program.
Okay.
Please.
No, of course it's serious.
I am saying that
those are serious allegations that you are making, so it must be guided by facts.
He said it on I am telling you that the videos are there, the clips are there. He said it. That those people causing trouble in Southwest are coming from Northwest, and the people of Southwest have to do everything possible to make sure that they go away, so that Kam should return to his native region. Now, you have Ephraim Enoni from the Bakingili village, who wrote and ended up being sacked, and he is in prison today. I don't want to go into the details. You have Philemon Yang, of course, whom, if you go to Kijem, Keku, in Oku, you ask the people about Philemon Yang, the response, of course, will be very negative. Is there a road leading to his native village in Oku? Philemon Yang is one of the people we could say that if Anglophone crisis is where it was today, it is because in the early days, he gave a blind eye and gave a deaf ear to the cry of the people. He was the first person who was sent to Bamenda, and we all saw his attitude. We are testimonies. We cannot play the Pontius Pilate game today.
But there was a Prime Minister ad hoc committee which he created now, where that saw Paul Migo Gogomo as
under the high instructions of the head of state. And let me tell you, there is a minister in this country who lost his post because he advised a CPDM parliamentarian to talk to Philemon Yang concerning the route in Bamenda, Patrice Ambassador. When the man took the courage to speak to Philemon Yang, he was sacked a month later. When the ENS Bambili was created.
But these are serious allegations you're making. I doubt if there are facts to prove that.
When ENS Bambili was created, I want to take this one to link with what happened up north when ENS Marwa was created. The elites of the north fought so hard that their children, who did not even have, some had only one advanced level, went into ENS Marwa. When it was the case of ENS Bambili, when the elites of Northwest started fighting, Mr. Philemon Yang fought to death that even those who had passed the written part could not go into that college without passing through orals. So he did actually nothing. And today, we are with John Gute, whom we have seen in every occasion. My papa talk say, make a can't tell when I say. And before I give you back the microphone, I'm asking this question. Who told you people, the Anglophone prime ministers, that you did not have a voice of your own? That you had nothing to offer to the people of Norway and Southwest coming from within you, except your papa talk say you tell the people that. And I mean, it is ridiculous. They have reduced their personality to the voice of the head of state. And that is why I started by saying that they are sitting in that structure, but the powers that owns that structure is controlled by somebody from elsewhere.
So in essence, you're saying that the position is more of a ceremonial.
Yes, it's ceremonial, not more of, it is ceremonial.
What can you make of the topic? What can Anglophones, the peace-loving people of Northwest and Southwest, boast of 30 years at the helm of the position as Prime Minister, head of government?
That post, Jarvis, is like, have you ever seen at the level of the village, this our village fowls, when you are sharing corn to them, maize, you see when you just take only 3 grains and throw, when there are many of them, the lucky person will pick. The post of the Prime Minister has become, if you see the way the post is the appointments of the prime ministry is not giving the post respect. You see, it is becoming like when you dance very well to my twin, I offer you this post. After some time, if another person comes up with a style that pleases me, I take from you and give to the other person. And the post is becoming something like a social media post. You see, sometimes the media, the newspaper will come up and begin to predict already people who are already in the background that are going to be appointed the prime minister. It tells us what the post is. I want to quote from one of the personalities, just like Mr. Ndivum said. When you see our brothers themselves that have been appointed prime minister, they themselves, from their altitude, tell us what they are there to do. During the presidential election of 2011, I think the then prime minister, who was Philemon Yang, he went for campaign in Bello. These are the words that came out of his mouth. SDF get prime minister, he was speaking in pidgin. SDF get prime minister, they said no. SDF get speaker of assembly, they said no. SDF get president of the republic, they said no. Alors, how will now leave a mango where the bear fruit? Will now go follow mango where the bear fruit? That was clearly declaring that he is there to serve the CPDM. And the mango he was describing as the fruitful one is the CPDM. So it's a regret that this thing, right from the time when President Ahijo was president, you will notice that the post of prime minister is a kind of post that we were supposed to be proud of. But the question was, what have we benefited from? I can say that we have benefited heavily. And what we have benefited is the war that is going on in the Northwest and Southwest now. That is the profit. That's what we have profited from the post of the prime minister. That is what has been bubbling right from the period of when Ahijo was still president, right to present moment. Because why am I saying like that? It's a pot that was bubbling. Because right now, when you see the allegations of the Anglophone, it's not in 2016 that they started. Right, many years ago, the Anglophones have been expressing their dissatisfaction, and the people they were counting on were prime minister. You see, sometimes you see those prime ministers, they themselves do not even like when you complain about their post, because they know that when you begin to complain about their post, it's like he's an accomplice. Maybe they will replace him. So they do not like when you are complaining that he's not having powers. So they themselves are a problem to us. You see, let me tell you, Jarvis, sometimes it is in Cameroon, they say the second personality now is the Senate president. But before the Senate was the prime minister. Am I mistaken?
Before when Ahijo took over, when Ahijo was president, the prime minister, the speaker of the House of Assembly was a constitutional successor. And when he was about handing over, he was switched now to the prime minister, which was President Paul Biya. And now, after President Paul Biya, it was brought back to the speaker of the Assembly. The speaker of Assembly, at the time the Senate has not been created. The Senate was created, it was now handed over to the Senate, who is the second personality. As we speak now.
After the Senate, it's supposed to be the prime minister.
After the Senate, we have the speaker, the prime minister.
Yes. So, yes, he is coming at the fourth position. But I want to share the fifth. But I want to share, there is something, I'm trying to say that I had this observation during the celebration of 120th May. If you want to know that that post of prime minister is not in Cameroon, you will know it at the 20th May Boulevard. When the personalities are coming in, you will notice that the prime minister comes there very early to sit and wait for the other personalities. The Senate president, you are talking, the president of the National Assembly. There's even somebody there that comes. A prime minister who is the head of government, who is supposed to form a cabinet. Is it because does it mean that one is a mistake from the constitution, or I don't understand? A prime minister who is supposed to create so I'm saying that we have profited negatively. The war that we are facing now is the result of our prime minister. 30 years run down, we have prime minister. That's what they have done to us.
Edmond, do you agree with what he said?
Not entirely. The problem here is, when we talk of the prime minister as an office, but with personalities, I need to pinpoint Peter Mafani Musonge. That is a man of high dignity. Peter Mafani Musonge, when he was still the manager of CDC, we saw his worth. That was a man who went to IMF. He borrowed money. He came and he revamped CDC. Those are some of the things that pushes President Pobia to appoint him the prime minister. Now, when he was appointed the prime minister, that we all know, and we are singing the same song, that position is relatively powerless. But if we are analyzing it based on that position, we'll see that all of them have failed woefully. But as individual, as personality, I count Philomonian, Peter Mafani Musonge, and Ephraim Enoni. That we cannot sit here like I said, when we're analyzing facts, we should analyze them based on history. Because what we're saying here is the achievements, where they have failed, and the topic is what the Northwest and Southwest benefited. If I should flash back, I still the reign of Anglophone Jua. When Jua was the PM of West Cameroon, Jua had that power, he had that strength, he had that zeal, radical in positive way, in order to bring many achievements in West Cameroon. But now, when this issue of appointment, we're talking about the prime ministers, talk less of even those parliamentarians that we vote in quotes, those that have been appointed. So when they're appointed, it is but normal that whatsoever they are doing, they are struggling to maintain their position. They are struggling to work for their leader, the person that has appointed them.
He will blow the pipers, tell the tune.
That is what I'm saying. Look at Philemon Yang. Philemon Yang, when he came back to Cameroon, he said he wants to come and help his people. He's a computer wizard. If we talk of this computerized accounting and system, thanks to Philemon Ephraim Enoni, I beg your pardon, Ephraim Enoni, those are people that they came with good zeal. But at that position, as they used to say, that their hands are tied. You and I were here condemning. If they take tomorrow the appoint any of us here, you will see that maybe you will even be more loyal than what they are doing. I always like us to be, we are not living in space. We are living in a country that will grow in this country. So, saying that what have the Northwest and Southwest benefited, I will still join the co-panelists to say they have benefited little or nothing.
Are you saying that the position of prime minister in this country is to water down our people with skills and knowledge to develop the country, to suppress them down?
Actually, to suppress them down
Because
and even kill their zeal.
You have quoted from people whom you said had done much, because you quoted from Musonge, his impact at the CDC, you quoted Ephraim Enoni, and that.
Even up to, there's a point that I want to make here. We should also understand that these Anglophones as prime ministers, there are still many Anglophones called elites that are even hindering them to do what they're supposed to do for the benefit of the Northwest and Southwest. Yes, why should I say so? If you look at even the current prime minister, Joseph Dion Guti, I listened to the senator Mbelamoki. He spoke and cried that this is somebody that Anglophones could rally behind him, and he will have a solution for even Anglophone problems. But in Yaoundé, the friends, I don't know names, but from Mbelamoki, they are still Anglophones that are like bringing him down. So I knew Diongute when in Libya, even when he started his political career. I mean Joseph Diongute. When he started his political career, those are people that will give them chance. They can do something. It's my own opinion. It's always good to criticize constructively. We should not just sit because maybe we'll have the voice to criticize. We should criticize wisely and we'll give the way forward. Because if we condemn anything, then everybody will remain there condemning. Thank you.
So what's your way?
So what will you make of this balance sheet 30 years after? Because he's saying that we should look at them from two premises. The premise of the position as Prime Minister and the premise of the position as individual in what they have been able to do as their personalities. But in all of this, what do you make of the balance sheet?
Yeah, I think the balance sheet normally is negative. Yeah, we cannot say that the balance sheet in terms of the achievements of the prime ministers, the Anglophone prime ministers in Cameroon, it is not a positive balance sheet, it is a negative one. Because Anglophones have actually benefited, to me, nothing from them being in the prime ministry. Not necessarily because they could not benefit anything, but because of the position of the prime minister in Cameroon. It's just like, it's a kind of a toothless bulldog position that has been given to blindfold Anglophones to think that they also have power or they also have a political say, which is not true. The prime minister in Cameroon is also an appointed post. That's why they don't have any impact. A prime ministry is supposed to be a post where they have some kind of executive powers. They have maybe they have powers to maybe suspend or sack ministers or to form a cabinet and then present to the president to validate. That's, to me, a prime minister that can bring impact. But a prime minister that is the government, the president comes into power, form his cabinet, he appoints a prime minister, appoint other ministers. The other ministers are insubordinate to the prime minister. When he wants to talk, they will tell him that all of them are appointed. And to me, they have failed as Anglophone because no matter where you are supposed to look at where you come from also. If you forget where you come from, you will not know where you are going to. The prime minister in Cameroon, they also have the power to like influence, because politics is a game of interest. They also, many of them are forgotten that when they are appointed to these positions, it is not just for their families or their immediate village or their immediate friends and so on and so forth. They forgot to know that the prime ministry is kind of reserved for Anglophones, and they are supposed to like use this position to foster developments in the Anglophone region. If you look starting from maybe Chiliachu, we can boast of like the creation of the GCE board. He signed it, even though he did not fight for it. He signed it because he was prime minister at that time. And Anglophone teachers fought, and some even died for that. And if you come to his achievement in the Northwest region, you will not see, you go around, even in Santa where you come from, you will not see any benefit of today, even for today. Because achievements are something that you live for a time, that even when you're not there, people will still see and remember that Pa Chiriach did this. We can also only remember his farms, his cows and so on. His achievements, politics and Jangi and so on. If you come to Musonge, if you see that maybe he tried the development projects were around Fako. The Southwest region is not Fako. That's what people fail to understand. So when he's referring to people as people in the Southwest or in the Fako division, they always kind of confuse like Fako division is the Southwest. No, Fako division is the host of the capital of the Southwest, but it's not the Southwest. So if you look at the Southwest in terms of roads, it is catastrophic. Maybe it is wholly Fako division linking Meme, that's having a road linking Manu. But if you look at his achievements as to be benefit to the general Anglophone, you will not see anything. If you go to Philemon Yang, the same thing. Ephraim Enoni, the same thing. Maybe Ephraim Enoni, the road to Bakingili, yes, there was a road tarde. If you come to Philemon Yang, that's the worst. The road is Oku, where he's come from. There's no road going to that place. The ring road, during his point, nothing at nothing to be achieved.
But the head of state that promised a ring road now is not young.
Yeah, but even if the head of state, they are supposed to execute government action. The head of state is not supposed to go there and see how these things are done. If something is promised to your village, you as a prime minister, you have the powers to make it work.
The head of state,
but
Yang cannot give firm instruction to the head of state.
Not that he can give firm instruction, but he can suggest. They do discuss with the head of state. I have the impression that these people. Yeah, I have the impression that these.
Let him land now.
I have the impression that many of these people, when they come into the prime ministry, they are more interested in what they benefit from there.
Okay.
The benefits, the allowances they have, the salaries they have. They are more interested in this benefit than so much so that they are so much afraid to lose these benefits that they focus more on not doing the things that can hurt somebody who appointed them. Maybe by doing the right thing, saying the truth, they will be kicked out. So that's why they are afraid to say the truth. If you come to the current prime minister, he's from Dian division. The petrol of Cameroon comes from Dian. The waste product of petrol is tar. That's used to tar. That's the waste product of petrol. But in Dian division cannot boast of 10 meters of tar.
No, but the construction was going on, but the conflict. Now many who say it was a conflict.
But we cannot. How many years have they been extracting petrol from that region that they had to wait for the conflict to come before the thing of tarring the road to Indian division?
Good afternoon.
So, Anglophones have benefited. To me, nothing.
Good afternoon. Appreciation to your great job you people are doing there since I was born in 1982. I've been following the political development in Cameroon very well. I can say with great confidence that the nation Cameroon is being ruled as a secret society. So every sector in the country needs to be sang papiers coming from Valley in Limbe. Valley in Limbe. This other one reads, it says, happy Sunday, Mr. Jarvis. I am personally disappointed with Philemon Yang. Can you imagine that only one thing he brought to the people is a prison? And this is coming from John, writing from Kumba. And this one, it says, good afternoon, Jarvis and all panelists. I am enjoying the program. Stephen from Yaoundé. This one, it says, good afternoon, all in the studio. Greetings to you all in the studio. This is Clinton from Bamenda. Their hands are tied. Why don't they resign? Why don't they resign that they can function properly? In other countries where a politician can't function because his hands are tied, he or she resigned, so to have clean hands. And that is coming from an anonymous sender. Aya Fred says, greetings to you all in the studio, kudos to your program. I'm surprised to hear that Cameroon has a prime minister after Ngumjua's era. I am still to see their impact. This is coming also from an anonymous sender. The Anglophone problem is not the post of the prime minister. Anglophone wants to manage their own issues. Simply, this is coming from Edward Fon, Banjok once again. And also those of you watching us online, happy Sunday to you. Deal with Emmanuel. You were agitating to talk when Mr. Edmond was talking about the fact that let us look at this from two premises: the premise of a prime minister, the post of a prime minister, and on the premise of the individual in the personality of the prime minister.
Yes, you see, when he was talking, I was smiling because he said something that really sounds so amusing. When he said some of us who are coming and criticizing, maybe if they put some of us there will maybe even be worse. I want to remind my brother that if at 30s you can speak with water in your mouth, at 70 you shall speak without water in your mouth. So I'm tempted to believe that Edmond is growing into that shell where if he's given the opportunity tonight, I mean, he will rapidly change. We know how it happens in Cameroon, and he will speak with both sides of the mouth. Of course, he should know that some people were born not to do such. I've had opportunities.
No, but you should not misquote me. You should not misquote me. Okay.
I have spoken with people in this country, and I've had the opportunity to have gains. I'm saying it in front of my camera, and I've turned them down because the gains are supposed to be my gains, not the gains of my people. And I've talked with the people.
But he was talking from the critical perspective too now.
A while ago, when I was talking about Philemon Yang, you keep telling me that allegations. Let me tell you that in Cameroon, I am one of the sacrificial lamb that has placed his life for the benefit of the people. And when I talk about Oku, I talk like somebody who have been there. I talk like somebody who has spoken with the people, who have given me, even Philemon Young, who worships at CBC Etogebe, will attest to you that his accord with the people of Oku is not a sound one. Because if, I don't want to go so personal about him, but that is one of the prime minister that we will not like to read so much in our history in this country. He comes from Northwest.
Okay.
I come from Northwest.
Okay, you take responsibility for that.
Oh, Tah Mai.
No, remember that
no,
from the professional canons of what I hold is that facts are those allegations. I call it allegations because I cannot justify them, but except you can.
Tah Mai Jarvis, we have informants that give us information that we store. It can be retried when it is needed.
Okay.
Talking about Southwest is really a shame. We are talking about 3 prime ministers that have come from Southwest. Go to Wabane, go to Libialem, go to Alon, go to Ndian, go to Ekono Titi, there is no route. Do you know that in 2010, the Kumbamafe route, we were made to understand that it was already celebrated in books in Yaoundé. Whereas at that time, from Kumba to Talangaye to Manyemen to Nguti, right to Tinto and to Oyumojo was impracticable. And it was meant to be celebrated in Yaoundé. When at that time we had a prime minister there who was from Southwest. He never came out to debunk these things you used to call allegations. The people were suffering. They were looking up to their own son. They call it their own illustrious son. Because at that time, they were looking up to him. He did nothing. Go back to Bamenda. You have the Bamenda Baba Juru today. Achide Achu was a prime minister. What stopped him from precipitating or forcing the government in place to see into it that this route from Santa Babaju to Bamenda was constructed? He was there used as a stooge. He only comes out with slogans during elections. Politics, Nanjangi, scratch my back, I scratch your back. Fooling the people all the time. Amassing wealth for their immediate families, friends, and relatives. Whereas it was supposed to be, the topic would have even been biased because a prime minister is supposed to work for the whole nation. But we are talking here in a context where even in their own respective regions, they don't have a voice. They have nothing to offer. And when they leave office, that is when they start thinking of, I would have done this, I would have done that. I am saying that the prime ministers from the Anglophone region have failed, and they are failing. Even the one who is there now is failing. I will also tell you that most of these prime ministers, if you come up with a youth association in this country and you want to go to meet the prime minister, the protocol barriers that will be placed in front of you already makes it difficult in such a way that you will never meet the prime minister. Let me give you a simple example. Book an appointment today that you want to sing Gongo. Then you book an appointment today that you want to meet John Gote, and see whether the audience will be granted from which office first. The one of Ngongo will go through. And that is where at times I ask myself, is it that all this respect is coming only from the Anglophone people in the office, or how? Because even in public exams in this country, we have seen ministers in some localities. We have an old minister of water and energy who is in prison in this country because he successfully stifled a list of concours to suit only his place of origin. Does it mean that only these people have the courage and we have the Prime Minister there who was an Anglophone. So, can this Prime Minister question even the orders of other ministers in this country? They don't have the powers. Okay. They have the office, they don't have the powers.
Good afternoon, Tah Jarvis. Anglophones have not benefited anything from this position, and that is also coming from an anonymous sender. This other one reads, it says, good afternoon to you guys in the studio. Nice program. Cameroon is controlled by greedy individuals. Jarvis, no post like Prime Minister. The Anglophones spark as a result. The Anglophone crisis spark as a result of the Fumban Treaty and equal responsibility. That is coming from Mundi Romanus. This other one reads, he says, I'm very disappointed with all the so-called Prime Minister. What they go there to do, their pockets. Thank you very much. That message has been read also, and this one, those of you watching us from Facebook, we want to say we appreciate you. We also appreciate the comment that some of you are making, especially those who are tagging us names. We want to also appreciate you. It's a democratic society, and also we are in a country where there is freedom of speech and also responsibility, because when I get a lot of you from Facebook commenting, Tabi Eric Santry says, Jarvis, please allow that man to talk. Forget about these things. You say responsibility. Of course, Tabi, there's responsibility in the professional canon of journalism, where I must be able to ascertain that I can prove this beyond reasonable doubt. And so sometimes some of you who comment like that on Facebook, it's easy to comment on Facebook and just come and understand the reality, and you should know that there is responsibility and this professional canon. That's what makes us journalists different from analysts, because we are bound to guide them to live to the professional way of analyzing things. Thank you very much for your comments on Facebook. We appreciate them. And come, I will host you as a panelist, and you'll be free to talk whatever you have to talk, provided you take responsibility after leaving the studio. My number is there, 676431384. All those of you commenting on Facebook, contact me. I'll make you a panelist here. Our office is at Feng Gudombange Koto Bonamusadi. Come, we'll receive you. Come to you, Ignatius. So far, what way forward do we have for this position? You say we have benefited just the Anglophone crisis, but that is not what others are saying.
No, I would like to start from where I would like to comment on the reaction of our brother. That the topic today is prime ministers and not the personalities. So we are talking here. We are not talking about their personality, but the post.
But there's no way
the post of the
There's no way you can separate it.
Some of them have worked, like you quoted the Peter Mafani Musonge. We don't cancel the fact that he has helped to bring up CDC. But at this level, because the post of prime minister, it plays a more political role in the name of the Anglophones and the nation as a whole. So at this level, we cannot bring it, we cannot narrow it to one particular maybe a development that one person did, and then we go and
my point is, when we're analyzing, we shall mention some. So there is no way we can separate.
No, if I have to mention, I will mention that this prime minister, while he was prime minister this year, he did this.
So
I will not say that when he was a manager, he did. No, we are talking about the prime minister. So what I was trying to say, see, do you know why it is very clear, as somebody wrote there, that their hands are tied. We have been hearing this statement for quite a long time, and we are tired of it. Let me quote this example. When the late Kofi Annan was appointed the head of a commission to follow up when there was a war in Syria, he started the job, and sometime he stepped down. He resigned.
Yeah, there was a point in time he resigned.
He resigned because he realized that while he was working to bring peace, and other Western powers, they were foiling the war from behind. That is, we are talking about, right, in Cameroon, they are able to manipulate our prime ministers because the word resignation does not exist in Cameroon. So I'm even doubting whether if that post that was given to Kofi Annan, imagine at the level international, the UN, with that kind of budget that they flow from there, if it was a Cameroonian, that Cameroonian could have resigned like Kofi Annan. That is what is killing us. I'm trying to say that if you are appointed a prime minister in Cameroon and you see that you are unable to give the services that Cameroonians need from you, resign so that let the person coming in, because even the person that appointed you, if you resign, he has to adjust when appointing the next person. You see, there are things that you have to fight and allow for those who are coming from behind to continue and benefit from your actions. So in Cameroon, all these prime ministers we have been talking for 30 years, I've never seen any of them, the prime minister, meet themselves, who complain. If you know that your hands are tied, you can, some of us will know. Maybe it's what my brother is trying to say. Sometimes the system in Cameroon, sometimes also it becomes difficult to enter into their system and withdraw. But there are many ways that you can resign from a post. There are people who claim that they are sick just to escape from something. To resign, let me say it clear, to have a post, especially in Cameroon, is very difficult. But to resign is very easy.
Okay.
So if they know that they are ready to work, to do what they have been appointed to do, resign. Let that place be adjusted for another person to come and provide the services that the Cameroonians need.
We all know that the name Anglophone and French Cameroon are colonial heritage, so it's a pity to see my fellow Cameroonians identify themselves as Anglophone or Francophone. Why can't Cameroonians see themselves as one? Coming from anonymous sender. It is within our constitution. Go to the 1996 constitution, which shows that you are not updated as far as the constitution of the country is concerned, that state that Cameroonian is either someone born from the birth of French Cameroon as of the time of independence, or Southern Cameroon as of the time of independence. And so we are not reinventing the wheel. It is a state. So if you want to change that, go run for presidential election, become the president, pass a bill to parliament, and that should be changed. Edmond, I want us to look at this issue now. Many are saying their hands are tied, and their hands are tied. But how tight are their hands when we see ministers embezzling money? When it comes to embezzlement of money, the hands are not tied.
Yes. Mr. Tah Mai.
How tight are the hands of prime ministers?
My brother did talk about resignation. So many of these prime ministers, they saw they witnessed or they read what President Amadou Ahidjo did to A.N. Joa, Augustine Gomjoa. If they can take that position of Joa, because we saw what Joa did. Joa was so radical that that was his position. If they are saying their hands are tight, and you believe with me that all these PM appointed, they are under CPDM, all under CPDM, and they equally have their rules and regulations as far as the party is concerned. Thank you. Party discipline. So you see that even for the why a question should be, why is it that President Pobia has never appointed any opposition to handle that? But is it a taboo? It's not a taboo. It's not a taboo. Now, my brother talks of way forward. That when I asked what should be the way forward. It is but normal if all Anglophones, they said this is our brother that have appointed as the PM. We need to give our support. We rally our support behind him. We help him. They said there is nobody that's an island. So they have been, instead for him to water him down, we'll give him that support, we'll give him that ideas. With those ideas, he can still push the problem of Anglophones and see how development is concerned. So that is the point. And he misquoted me, saying that, I should say it is a fallacy even, because that is attacking personality. What I'm saying is that I make a statement. He said, if maybe I have the position, I would maybe do same.
That you will speak with water in your mouth?
Water in my mouth.
I did not say maybe, I say you will do.
Okay, he said I will do. He said I will do. He's a man of his word. He's man of his word. He said I will do. But actions speak louder than words. I will only, at that point, I will say actions speak louder than words. Word can say everything. But when the action, for the moment, I prefer action.
Okay.
Thank you.
For Muna, if you are good in science, you will get a job. And for Yang, if he tells you his people that if you merit a position, it will be given to you without his intervention. Happy Sunday to you. And also, that is coming from a viewer that if in the days of Muna, if you are good in science, he will give you a job. And that in the days of Yang, if he will tell you if you merit a position, it will be given to you without his intervention. Greetings to you all in the studio. Kudos to the program. This one is coming from Sabshe Shapiro. Sapalo says, good afternoon, dear panelists. I really appreciate the work you are doing, but where has all this talk led us to? Is it that the message don't get to the right people? Our ministers are simply... Thank you very much. I hope you understand why I would not have to read the words. Please, we have to be Republican as possible, and such that you know, in the word of Professor Evan Golden, I have to be Republican. This other one read, it says, good afternoon, Jarvis and those in the panel. You guys are doing a wonderful job. Continue. May the Almighty God, you know, bless this country and change it one day. Coming from an anonymous sender, how can they resign when greed is their greed and their ego will not let them? PMs in Cameroon, Papa send me make a come tell when I say what a shame. Mundi from Boya and the woman Manuel is you? Yeah, okay. Nick Anu. You've talked about the fact that the Prime Minister in itself, the position in itself, have not been able to produce tangible result. And so far, Cameroonians, like Diwum pointed out, that if you move from Tinto to Idiabato to the Libialem, Alo, Anyalewo, you are from the Libialem. So far, the visible no effective road to that division. That happens to be one of the biggest, I think, one of the most enclaved in the Southwest region, and we've had 3 prime ministers from the Southwest region.
Yeah. So what's your question?
I'm saying that we've had 3 prime ministers from the region, and your area seemingly not have a road.
That's what I'm saying that, and I'm keep saying that if you bring Jesus Christ in his humanity to be Prime Minister of Cameroon, the same result will still be produced. Okay. Yeah. The problem is the system. The system of Cameroon, no matter how good you are, you can never, it's difficult to navigate in it and do good things. Mm-hmm. It's a system that doesn't like good things. A system that doesn't, when you are doing the good, you are instead kicked away. A system that doesn't like meritocracy. We saw that very well in UB, for example, during the time of Professor Lambi, when he wanted to bring transparency in the just created Faculty of Health Sciences. We saw what happened to him when he refused the release from Yaoundé and he was sacked. It's a very thing about this Prime Minister. They are in a dangerous system that when you try to do the right thing, you are kicked away.
But we've had cases that ministers embezzled, they were sent to Kundengi. Mm-hmm. So my question is, were their hands not tied to embezzle? Why is it that their hands are only tied to work, to do what Cameroonians are expecting them to do according to their job description?
It is about the whole system of governance in Cameroon, or governance in Africa in general. The whole system of governance in Cameroon is about individualism. It's not about the general interest. It's about individual interest. That's the politics of Cameroon. It's about nepotism. The earlier we accept that and try to amend and how to foster how the future will look like for the future generation, the better. We should just keep pretending that we have a governance system in Cameroon. The system is a nepotic system that everybody that is appointed goes there for what they will gain, what they stand to gain. That's why they cannot resign. They are there to, that's why they are free, they can embezzle as they like. Because they know that even after you send them to Kononge, the money will not even be, they cannot recover that money. After some years, their family will still remain and enjoy the money. So the system has permitted that. So how do you expect these people? I'm still saying that being as a prime minister, if you go there with the right mind, and with the interest of the people at heart, you can still do something. You can still do something visible. We have seen in other countries, people have done that and they've succeeded. But in Cameroon, the problem is that they go there with their personal interests, the interest of the party, the interest of the person who appointed them, and they put the interest of all these people first before the interest of the people. That's why at the end of their mandate, they cannot show anything visible for the people. If the current Prime Minister was going to 4 years in his mandate, what can be shown? There's nothing that can be shown even to his people of Indian. There's nothing that can be shown for as an achievement of the current Prime Minister. Talk less of the whole Southwest region where it comes from and in general.
But you know that the special status came because of the Prime Minister shared the
we should stop talking about
national dialogue.
The grand national monologue. We should stop talking about that. We should stop talking about that dialogue. We should stop talking about the special status. Because all of us, evidence on ground showed that that was all a scam.
No, but Papa talks we should bring special status.
It was all a scam. Where is it today? What are the evidences of the special status they brought today? There's nothing to show for. So we should stop fooling around, and what all these people are doing, they're actually sowing seeds for more crisis in the future.
So you are joining Ignatius to say that we have achieved war.
Yeah, it's an achievement, and it is what they are doing currently. They're still sowing more seeds for more war to come tomorrow. And if we are not careful, the future, because every leader, as in whatever political post you are put into, you're supposed to work for the interest of not just that current generation, but for the interest of the future generation.
Hello, good afternoon to you in the studio. I am Franklin from Tico. The PM post is just decoration that Yaoundé regime used to deceive the Anglophones that is Cameroon. If we need results from our ministers, I believe electing them to office will do us good. Appointment of ministers have failed Cameroonians. And this other one, it says good afternoon in the studio. This is a nice program, and also all those of you writing us, good afternoon all in the studio. We want to say that good afternoon, House of Commons, and all the panelists, especially Mr. Ndiwum, want to think that the Prime Minister, head of government, and control ministers. Then we wish one day to hear a minister address a situation stipulating that under the firm instruction of the Prime Minister than the firm instruction from the head of state. But Emmanuel, this message is coming from Fundong, someone in Fundong, Daniel from Fundong. But Emmanuel, during the COVID-19 pandemic, we heard the Minister of Territorial Administration said that the President of Government, maybe he wanted to say talk about the head of government, and that was coming from the Prime Minister's office. That the Prime Minister has given instructions also. So this we have had these cases.
May I quickly also remind
and even the ad hoc committee.
May I quickly also remind you that when John Gute was in Northwest telling the people that my papa talk say make I come talk say, the same Atanganji Paul that you are talking about was on France 24 or France 24 contradicting the Prime Minister who is supposed to be his boss. In this case, you and I, if we look at actions that speaks louder than words, we will see that the actions that Mr. Paul Atanganji poses on the field are more active and present than what the Prime Minister does. So, one, the Prime Minister has no power.
But
He's powerless. Let me come.
I want to cue you. When we talk about Cameroon, they will tell you that the Anglophone occupy the position of a Prime Minister, which means, according to them,
it's a post office. He's there as a stooge. Let's say it the way it is.
So are you saying that the stooge position has been given to Anglophones?
Yes, for sure. We know
the protocol of the state is a fifth personality.
In the protocol of the state, he's the fifth.
The fifth personality.
And when, by the way, we have been treated in this country, we are second-class citizens. It is not a debate. Why are you not asking yourself, why must we only be at the Prime Minister? Why not the President? Now, there is a quote in the Bible which says, never you outshine your master. We can also think in that direction that these Prime Ministers are copying from their master who is the President. who has been doing nothing for 40 years. And we think that the prime ministers are copying from the examples of the leader, of their boss. So they don't want to outshine their master. Maybe the day their master will start doing the right thing, they will start doing the right thing. Maybe the day their master will go to Bamenda, supervise the ring road personally, as he promised. I am wishing him long life because I want to ride my car on that route, that ring road that Mr. Bia promised us. Do you know the last time the president was in Bamenda? During the celebration of the military, second of the military.
I was there.
And till date, in his own country, then how, when we are holding these prime ministers to account, let's also be holding our president to account. So what am I saying, Tah Mai? Let's look at the personality of Yang. He studied so well, like somebody said here, he studied audiovisual.
No, not Yang.
Yeah.
Yang
It's
was a
from
lawyer.
Yes.
Yang
No,
was a magistrate.
Yang was a magistrate.
Yes.
His profile as a person is perfect. Just like John Gute as a person, very perfect. But I regret to say that these people are like good players that found themselves in the wrong team. And I want to tell you that this prime ministerial office is like a mole. Whether you are a Jesus Christ or not, it was already mold in a way that it is bad.
That is it.
Take Jesus Christ today and put in that mold. He will be shaped to resemble the failure that was already made in that mold.
So personally, we should not blame these Anglophones who have.
I am blaming the prime minister, not the person himself in the office. I blame the office and the person carrying that title, not the person.
But when you started earlier, the program,
it's just the same.
Come on, listen.
It's just the same as the Pope said. Who?
When I finished blaming them, I asked this question. Do you know that you only make history when you defeat what was blocking other people not to function? Why then can they not break this barrier and make history?
Okay.
You are a respectable journalist. There are a lot of things that when I say here, you say hold to account. You know a lot of deontology in journalism, ethics and deontology. Even if you are journalism, it is said your sources should not be disclosed.
Of course.
So when I speak, that's why I say I assume it, because
that's why I say allegations.
Analysts also have a way they gather their information, and they should also protect the source of their information from the point of anonymity.
And that's why I call them allegations, because we have not been established. The allegations.
Allegations should not be.
As of now, they remain allegations now, because the person will tell you that no court has proven. No court, the person can still go before court and say no.
Whatever the case, we have a president in the nation who was asked or who sung the prayer.
Okay, greetings
But
to
today
you.
he's putting almost everybody in prison except himself.
Franklin from Thailand, right? Say greetings to you, the panelists. The problem of our PMs is based on the fact that the Anglophone community do not hold them accountable. We all know why the post of Prime Minister exists and reserved only for Anglophone. Unfortunately, Yaoundé cannot allow them to do anything. Jarvis, do your duty to the people as a journalist and get a one-on-one interview with our Prime Minister, who can know, so that we can know what they perform. This is your duty and the true power of journalism and the media. Franklin, he will tell you that most of these persons or personalities will not accept to talk, and even those who respect and revered professors who are Anglophones don't like to talk to the media. And that, if you can get to them and they agree to talk, we'll open. But we've tried and keep trying, and we can no longer try again. And this one say, good afternoon, Jarvis. Can PM control the Minister of Defense or Minister of Finance? Just a question from Victor Abang from Befang. Thank you very much, all those of you who took our time to contribute to the program. We are out of time. If you want to be a panelist to this program, you can write to me on the numbers that you see on your screen, 676-431-384, 676-431-384. I will include you in the WhatsApp group of our discussion so that you can follow the discussion. Thank you for coming, Ignatius, and of course, thank you for coming. Also, Mr. Nick, thank you for coming. Edmond, and of course, Doom Emmanuel, thank you for coming, and thank you all for watching. I always leave you with this: no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. No matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And that is my personal quote. What matters for me is that stay out of trouble.